The whispers cut sharper than the autumn wind slicing through the cemetery. Lila Harper stood by her grandmother's open grave, clutching a white rose, her heart pounding as the murmurs of the mourners grew louder. A rainbow pin? At a funeral? Disrespectful, hissed a voice, and Lila's chest tightened, but she refused to look down. She was 28, and the rainbow pin on her black dress wasn't just a symbol. It was her truth, her courage, her love for Emery Quinn, the woman standing quietly beside her. The small town of Willow Creek, nestled in the heart of Ohio, wasn't ready for Lila's unapologetic heart, especially not at her grandmother Ruth's funeral. Ruth had been Lila's anchor, the one who taught her to paint, to dream, to love fiercely even when the world pushed back. Now, as the preacher's voice droned on, Lila felt the weight of judgment from every pair of eyes in the crowd, except Emery's. Emery, 30, with her short black hair and steady blue eyes, stood like a shield. Her hand brushed Lila's, a silent vow. I'm here. They'd been together for 2 years, their love a quiet rebellion against a town that clung to tradition like a lifeline. Willow Creek wasn't cruel, not overtly, but it had a way of suffocating those who didn't fit its mold. Lila had grown up here under the shadow of expectations, and Ruth had been the only one who saw her for who she was. A dreamer, an artist, a woman who loved another woman. The funeral was supposed to be a goodbye, a moment to honor Ruth's legacy of kindness. Instead, it became a stage for whispers and sneers. Lila's cousin, Bethany, a sharp-tongued woman in her late 30s, stood near the front, her lips curled in disdain. She's making a spectacle, Bethany muttered to her husband, loud enough for Lila to hear. Others nodded, their eyes flicking to the rainbow pin like it was a stain. Lila's grip on the rose tightened, the thorns pricking her palm. She wanted to scream, to tell them Ruth would have loved the pin, would have loved Emery, would have loved her for being brave. But grief choked her words. Emery sensed it, her hand finding Lila's elbow, steadying her. Don't listen, she whispered, her voice low and fierce. They don't know you. They don't know us. Lila nodded, but the weight of the stares pressed harder. She thought of Ruth's stories, the ones about standing tall, about love being the loudest voice in a room full of hate. Lila had worn the pin for her, to carry her grandmother's spirit into this moment of loss. But now it felt like a target. Emery knelt beside her, her blazer damp from the mist. You are you, she said softly. And Ruth would be so damn proud. Lila's eyes welled up, but she managed a small smile. Emery always knew how to pull her back from the edge. They stood together, their hands brushing again, a quiet defiance against the fading crowd. But Bethany lingered, her eyes narrowed. You're embarrassing the family, she said, stepping closer. Take that thing off. Lila's heart raced. It's who I am, she said, her voice shaking but firm. Bethany scoffed, turning away, but not before Lila caught the venom in her stare. Emery's hand tightened on hers, a silent promise to face whatever came next. They didn't know it yet, but Bethany's words were just the beginning. A spark that would ignite a firestorm. That evening, at the reception in Ruth's old Victorian house, the tension followed them. The living room was packed with relatives and neighbors, their voices a low hum over plates of casseroles and pie. Lila and Emery stayed close, navigating the crowd like sailors in a storm. Lila's mother, Diane, a weary woman in her 50s, pulled Lila aside. Why do you have to make things harder? She asked, her voice heavy with exhaustion. Just for today, couldn't you blend in? Lila's throat tightened. Mom, I'm not hiding. Not anymore. Diane sighed, her eyes flickering with something like regret, but she said nothing more. Emery, standing nearby, overheard and gave Lila a look that said, You're enough. It was enough to keep Lila standing, but the weight of the day was crushing her. As the night wore on, Lila noticed Bethany whispering to a group of cousins, their glances darting her way. She overheard fragments, disrespectful, attention-seeking, poor Ruth, and her stomach churned. Emery, ever watchful, pulled her onto the porch for air. The night was cool, the stars hidden by clouds, and Emery's arms wrapped around her. We'll get through this, Emery said, her voice a low hum against Lila's ear. Together. But Lila couldn't shake the feeling that something was brewing. She didn't know about the phone in Bethany's pocket, recording every word, every glance, every moment of their love. She didn't know that the truth, captured in secret, would soon unravel everything. The next morning, Lila woke to the smell of coffee and the soft clink of dishes in Ruth's kitchen. Emery was already up, her hair a mess, her eyes scanning her phone with a frown. "You okay?" Lila asked, her voice hoarse from crying herself to sleep. Emery hesitated, then handed her the phone. "A text from a friend in town. Check the Willow Creek forum. They're talking about you." Lila's heart sank as she opened the local online forum, a digital town square where gossip spread like wildfire. There it was, a post titled "Disgrace at Ruth Harper's Funeral." The words hit like a punch. Lila Harper wore a rainbow pin to her grandmother's funeral, flaunting her lifestyle in front of grieving family. Disrespectful and shameful. The comments were worse, hundreds of them from neighbors, old classmates, even strangers. "She's always been trouble. Ruth must be rolling in her grave." Lila's hand shook as she scrolled. Emery knelt beside her, her voice steady. "They're wrong. You know that." But Lila's eyes burned with tears. "They're saying I didn't love her," she whispered. "They're saying I ruined her funeral." Emery pulled her close, her arms a fortress against the world. "You loved Ruth more than anyone. That pin was for her, for you, for us. Don't let them take that away." Lila wanted to believe her, but the words on the screen burrowed deep. She'd always known Willow Creek was small-minded, but this felt personal, like a betrayal of Ruth's memory. Emery, sensing her spiraling, suggested they get out of the house. "Let's go to the studio," she said. Ruth's art studio, a small shed behind the house, had been Lila's sanctuary growing up. It was where she'd first kissed Emery, where they dreamed of a future beyond Willow Creek. The studio smelled of paint and old wood, its walls lined with Ruth's vibrant landscapes and Lila's own abstract works. Lila sank onto a stool, her fingers tracing a canvas Ruth had left unfinished. "She always told me to be brave," Lila said, her voice breaking. "But I feel like I'm failing her." Emery sat across from her, her eyes fierce. "You're not failing. You're living the truth she wanted for you. That's what the pin means." They spent the day there, painting side by side, their brushes moving in quiet rhythm. Emery's work was bold, all sharp lines and deep blues, while Lila's was softer, a swirl of colors that bled into each other like emotions. For a few hours the world outside faded, and it was just them. Two women in love, creating something beautiful in a place that held Ruth's spirit. But the peace didn't last. That evening Lila's phone buzzed with a new message from an unknown number. It was a video clip, shaky and grainy but unmistakable. It showed Lila and Emery at the funeral, standing by the grave, their hands brushing, Emery's arm around Lila as Bethany's voice hissed in the background. "She's embarrassing the family." The clip cut to the reception, capturing Diane's plea to blend in, and Bethany's whispered tirade to the cousins. Lila's blood ran cold. Someone had recorded them, every private moment, and now it was out there. "Who sent this?" Lila asked, her voice trembling. Emery's face was grim. "I don't know, but it's on the forum now. People are sharing it." Lila opened the forum again, and there it was, a new post with the video titled "The Truth About Lila Harper." The comments were a mix of venom and, surprisingly, support. "She's grieving, leave her alone," wrote one user. "That pin was her truth. Respect it," said another. But the hate was louder, and Lila felt exposed, like her heart had been ripped open for the town to judge. Emery took the phone from her hands. "We need to find out who did this," she said, her voice low with determination. "And why?" Lila nodded, but fear gnawed at her. The video wasn't just a violation, it was a weapon, and someone was wielding it with intent. They didn't know it yet, but the recording held secrets that went beyond gossip, secrets that could tear their world apart, or rebuild it. That night they sat on Ruth's porch, the air thick with tension. Emery's hand found Lila's, their fingers intertwining. "Whatever happens," Emery said, "we face it together." Lila squeezed her hand, drawing strength from the woman she loved. But as they stared into the dark, Lila couldn't shake the feeling that the worst was yet to come. The next day, Lila and Emery drove to the local coffee shop, a neutral ground to think. The video had spread beyond the forum, shared on social media, emailed to relatives. Lila's phone buzzed constantly, messages ranging from cruel to curious. "Why can't you just be normal?" One read. "I'm proud of you for standing up," said another. Lila felt like she was drowning in other people's opinions. Emery, ever practical, suggested they trace the video's source. Someone sent it to you for a reason, she said, sipping her coffee. Maybe they're trying to help. Lila wasn't so sure. The video felt like a betrayal, especially since it captured Diane's words. Her mother hadn't spoken to her since the reception, and the silence hurt more than the town's judgment. They decided to confront Bethany, who seemed the most likely culprit. Her house was on the edge of town, a neat colonial with a perfectly manicured lawn. Bethany answered the door, her expression cold. "What do you want?" she asked, crossing her arms. Lila took a deep breath. "Did you record us at the funeral?" Bethany's eyes flickered, but she shook her head. "Why would I? I don't care enough about your little display to bother." Emery stepped forward, her voice calm but sharp. "Someone did. And your voice is all over that video." Bethany's face paled, but she doubled down. "I didn't record anything. But maybe you should think about how your choices affect the family." Lila's stomach twisted. Bethany's words echoed the forum posts, the whispers at the funeral. But there was something in her cousin's eyes, guilt maybe or fear. Back in the car, Emery slammed her hands on the steering wheel. "She's lying," she said. "I can feel it." Lila nodded, but she was tired, worn down by the constant scrutiny. "What if it's not her?" she asked. "What if it's someone closer?" The thought of Diane, her own mother, being involved made her feel sick. Emery reached for her hand. "We'll figure it out. I promise." That afternoon, they visited Ruth's lawyer, Mr. Thompson, to discuss her will. The old man's office was cluttered with books and papers, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. He greeted them warmly, his eyes lingering on Lila's rainbow pin with a small smile. "Ruth was proud of you," he said, and Lila's throat tightened. He handed her a letter, sealed with Ruth's familiar handwriting. "She wanted you to have this after the funeral." Lila waited until they were back in the studio to open it. The letter was short but heavy with love. "Lila, my brave girl, never hide who you are. The world will try to dim your light, but you shine anyway. I've left you something to help you start fresh somewhere new with Emery. Love always, Grandma." Enclosed was a key to a safety deposit box. Lila's hand shook as she read it again, tears falling. Emery pulled her close, her own eyes misty. "She knew," Emery whispered. "She always knew." The safety deposit box held a deed to a small house in Portland, Oregon, a city where Lila and Emery had dreamed of starting over. There was also a savings account, enough to give them a fresh start. Lila felt Ruth's love wrap around her like a warm blanket, but the weight of the video lingered. Someone had violated their grief, and they needed answers. That evening, a new message arrived from the unknown number. "Meet me at the old oak by the river. Midnight. I have answers." Lila's heart raced. Emery was skeptical, but Lila insisted. "If there's a chance to know who did this, I have to take it." Emery reluctantly agreed, but her eyes were sharp, ready for anything. At midnight, the riverbank was silent, the old oak looming like a sentinel. A figure emerged from the shadows, Lila's childhood friend, Sarah, now a quiet librarian with a knack for staying unnoticed. "I recorded it," Sarah confessed, her voice trembling. "I didn't mean for it to go viral. I heard Bethany talking, planning something worse. I thought the truth would protect you." Lila's mind spun. "What do you mean something worse?" Sarah hesitated, then handed over a USB drive. "Listen to this. It's from the reception." Bethany wasn't just gossiping. She was plotting. Lila and Emery exchanged a glance, their hearts pounding. The night felt alive with secrets, and they were about to uncover the truth. Back at Ruth's house, Lila and Emery plugged the USB into Lila's laptop, their hands trembling. The audio was clear, Bethany's voice dripping with venom. "She thinks she can flaunt that pin and get away with it? I'll make sure everyone knows what a disgrace she is. The will's being read tomorrow. Let's see how she likes being cut out." Another voice, Diane's, murmured agreement, though it sounded reluctant. Lila's heart shattered. Her own mother had been part of this. Emery's face was a storm of anger and protectiveness. "They were going to challenge the will?" she asked, her voice low. Lila nodded, tears streaming down her face. "They wanted to take everything Ruth left me. Because of who I am." The betrayal cut deeper than the forum posts, the whispers, the video. This was family, the people who were supposed to love her. Sarah, who'd followed them back, spoke softly. I recorded it to protect you. I posted the video online to show the town what they were doing, how they were judging you instead of grieving Ruth. I didn't expect it to blow up like this. Lila wanted to be angry, but Sarah's eyes were earnest, her hands fidgeting with guilt. I'm sorry, Sarah said. I just wanted to help. Emery's voice softened. You did help. This audio, it's proof. Lila wiped her tears, her resolve hardening. We need to use this, she said. Not to hurt them, but to show the truth. Ruth wouldn't want revenge. She'd want honesty. Emery nodded, her hand finding Lila's. Then let's do it right. The next morning, they met with Mr. Thompson again. Lila played the audio, her heart pounding as Bethany's and Diane's voices filled the room. Mr. Thompson's face grew grim. This is serious, he said. Challenging a will with malicious intent can have legal consequences. But more than that, it's a betrayal of Ruth's wishes. He promised to handle the legal side, ensuring Ruth's will was honored. But Lila wanted more. She wanted the town to see the truth. With Sarah's help, they uploaded the audio to the forum, along with a letter from Lila. This is who I am, she wrote. The rainbow pin was for my grandmother, who loved me for being me. The real disgrace is turning grief into gossip, love into shame. Let's honor Ruth by choosing kindness. She hesitated before hitting post, but Emery's steady gaze gave her courage. You're doing the right thing, Emery said, and Lila clicked send. The response was immediate. The forum exploded with comments, some still cruel, but many apologetic, even admiring. I didn't realize how much hate we were piling on, one user wrote. Ruth would have hated this, said another. A few townsfolk reached out directly, offering support. Lila's phone buzzed with a message from Diane. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Lila's heart ached, but she wasn't ready to respond. Not yet. That evening, Lila and Emery sat in the studio painting again. The air felt lighter, like the truth had cleared some of the storm. Lila's canvas was bold now, streaks of red and gold, a reflection of her growing strength. Emery's was softer, blues blending into purples, a quiet promise of hope. They didn't speak much, but their brushes moved in sync, their love a language of its own. As the sun set, Lila's phone buzzed again. It was Mr. Thompson. The will is secure, he said. And Bethany's backing off. But there's something else. Ruth left a message for the town. She wanted it read at the community center tomorrow. Lila's breath caught. Ruth had always had a way of surprising her, even from beyond the grave. The community center was packed, the air thick with anticipation. Lila stood at the back, Emery by her side, her rainbow pin gleaming under the fluorescent lights. The town had come to hear Ruth's final message, but Lila felt exposed, like every eye was on her again. Emery squeezed her hand, grounding her. Whatever happens, she whispered, we've got this. Mr. Thompson took the stage, holding a letter in Ruth's handwriting. Ruth Harper was a woman of love and courage, he began. She wanted her final words to be heard by all of you. He cleared his throat and read, To my beloved Willow Creek, I've lived among you for 80 years, and I've seen your hearts, some kind, some closed. My granddaughter Lila is my pride, not because she's perfect, but because she's true. She loves with a heart that doesn't hide, and I ask you to honor that. Don't let fear turn you against each other. Choose love always. The room was silent. Then a soft sob broke the stillness. Lila's mother, Diane, stood in the crowd, tears streaming down her face. Others followed, some bowing their heads, others whispering apologies. Bethany was there too, her face pale, her eyes avoiding Lila's. Mr. Thompson continued. Ruth left a fund for a community art program, to be run by Lila and Emery, to teach our kids to create, to dream, to be themselves. Lila's heart swelled. This was Ruth's legacy. Not just a house in Portland, but a chance to change Willow Creek, to make it a place where love didn't have to hide. She stepped forward, her voice trembling but clear. I wore the rainbow pin for my grandmother, because she taught me to be proud of who I am. I'm not leaving Willow Creek, not yet. I want to build something here with all of you for her. The applause started slowly, then grew. A wave of support that drowned out the whispers of the past week. Diane approached, her eyes red. I was wrong, she said, her voice breaking. I didn't understand. I want to try. Lila hugged her, tears falling, the first step toward healing. Bethany stayed silent, but her absence of venom was a start. That night, Lila and Emery stood by the river, the old oak towering above them. The stars were out, bright against the dark. "We could still go to Portland," Emery said, her voice soft. Lila smiled, leaning into her. "Maybe one day. But for now I want to stay. I want to make this place better for Ruth, for us." Emery kissed her, slow and sure. Their love a quiet triumph. The recording, the whispers, the pain. It had all led to this moment, where truth won, where love stood tall. Lila touched her rainbow pin, feeling Ruth's spirit in its colors. They'd face the storm and come out stronger together, ready to paint a new future. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe to get notifications about next videos.